broadcast from the North Dakota Petroleum Council's annual meeting out in Medora, North Dakota, where tomorrow Rick Berg will address the group here via video because duty calls. He's in Congress. Joins us now on the Common Sense Hotline. Hey, Rick, how you doing?
Hey, Scott, thanks for having me. Well, I was going to say I was doing good because that's my normal response, but I tell you what, I'm really frustrated with, we got a bunch of work here that's got to get done, and the Farm Bill is kind of at the top of it.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, some folks are turning this into a political issue. I know that's a big surprise for you in the middle of a campaign for Senate that
Yeah.
that a farm bill would get political. But they're some trying to say it's one of the reasons this is a tight race. You've obviously been doing everything in your power to get this vote on. Give us the latest on where we're at with it. Is there going to be a vote on the farm bill?
Well, I mean, the bottom line is this expires the end of this month, and I've been pushing with many others to get a 5-year extension or a new 5-year farm bill. I mean, that's really what has to happen. In North Dakota and, throughout the Midwest, I mean, really throughout the country, the one bright spot we've got is agriculture. I mean, that's creating new revenue, it's creating jobs, and the last thing we need is to put this cloud of uncertainty over ag. So the challenge I've got is the House Republican leadership is not bringing the bill that came out of committee to the floor. And, I mean, there's various reasons and things that, 80% of the Farm Bill is not production agriculture. And so we're having problems getting a bipartisan support on the floor and getting that passed. But, I've been pushing leadership to bring the bill up. Let's take a vote on it. And, that's been our challenge.
Are the votes there? I mean, I keep getting conflicting reports on whether the votes are there or whether they're not there. And I mean, is that one of the reasons leadership is reluctant to bring it to the floor? You're in an election year. You'd want to make sure it passes. Is that what's going on?
Yeah. Well, what leadership's saying is that if we bring the bill out in an open rule process, that any amendment could be made on the floor. And they're assuming that there would be reductions to the food stamps and some of those programs on the floor. Thus, the Democrats in the House would not support the Farm Bill. And so, I mean, their response to me is we don't have the votes in the House to pass it. And my response back to them is, well, this is a legislative process. You need to bring the bill to the floor. You need to try and pass it. If you can't pass it, then you take it, back to committee and you change it until you get, a bill that can pass the U.S. House.
This is just I think, a prime example of the challenge of the fact that you have too few members of Congress from farm country, right? I mean, this is just strictly a tough battle.
I mean,
right?
that's a great point, Scott. I mean, in the U.S. House, there's 435 congressmen and women in the House, and they're elected by population, not by state. So, like in the Senate, every state has 2 senators, and every state has ag in it, so it's important to every state. In the House, I tell you, it's not that way. And so, in fact, the reflection of production agriculture in the House is probably a lot closer, as a percent of our whole population, which is probably down less than 10% of our population works directly in production agriculture or, the next industry off it. So that is the challenge, is convincing these people that food doesn't just show up in the grocery stores, and the reason we have a strong supply and the cheapest food, or very inexpensive food is because of our strong agriculture.
I want to talk about a couple other issues besides the Farm Bill that are in the news. One, there is a radio ad out there in which your opponent, Heidi Heitkamp, is critical of you for the actions, some court cases of a company that was affiliated with your company, Goldmark Commercial, but not the company that you were an officer of. So factually, you've pointed that out. I'm more curious what it says about Heidi Heitkamp just taking on a business. I mean, besides the issue of, factually being wrong, that you're actually not an officer of that company and the ad is wrong, doesn't it concern you even more that she's attacking a private business?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't own, never have owned. I'm not a part of the company that she's blatantly saying that I am. It's 100% false. I haven't made a nickel on it. I haven't been involved with it. But our biggest challenge facing our country is our economy and jobs. And I don't think people understand a lot of times that the way you get our economy going is you encourage business and you encourage them to invest and grow. And so, if you can't say you're for a business and do things that are anti-business, whether it's attacking business, whether it's adding regulations to business, whether it's the tax uncertainty, you can't have it both ways. And so, I think this campaign is about the facts, not the rhetoric. And there's a lot of rhetoric, but the fact is, if you're for business and for jobs, you want that to happen, you can't be pushing, regulations and uncertainty in taxes and everything else.
Heidi Heitkamp spoke today to the North Dakota Petroleum Council annual meeting, as I mentioned, that you'll be doing tomorrow. Largely her remarks were about how friendly she is towards the industry and what a good ally she'd be if she was in the United States Senate. Yet we know that she has the second largest contributor to her campaign, a law firm that's made a pretty substantial, made quite a living suing companies and is very much anti-fracking, which we know without the procedure of fracking we wouldn't have the boom in the Bakken. She has said through a spokesperson today she will not return the campaign dollars from that particular law firm. What's your reaction to that?
That's what's wrong with our country. That's what's wrong with politics. I mean, you say one thing and do another. Here we've got a company that clearly is getting people, encouraging people to sue, to stop the energy growth. I mean, primarily out east in gas. But what they're doing, that's the biggest risk to North Dakota's energy development. And so, I mean, you can't be for energy development and then also be for the people that are trying to sue and shut down energy development. I mean, what we hear out here in Washington is, quite frankly, the agencies are doing cap and trade through administrative rule and litigation. That's what has our industry concerned, and she should give that money back. Absolutely. You can't be for oil and for energy development and also for the people that are throwing up barriers and suing them and shutting them down.
Does Heidi Heitkamp have a problem in that she's claiming to be independent and, and yet I'm going to vote for Reid. I'm getting all these dollars from, the usual sources, the trial lawyers, the union types, all the folks. They aren't giving Heidi Heitkamp money to go to Washington, D.C. and be independent, are they? I mean, isn't this a disconnect?
You're absolutely right. And I don't know, there's all kinds of examples where everyone knows the rhetoric, but you got to look at the facts. Keystone Pipeline. The Keystone Pipeline has not been brought up in the Senate because Reid has told people, I don't want my Senate Democrats to have to take a tough vote. And so even though people are saying they're for it, it's not coming up for a vote. I mean, the budget, balancing the budget, these are things that there's a lot of rhetoric all over the place, but we have to get our country back on track. And you do it by actually taking these issues up and making decisions, and that's not happening in the U.S. Senate. And we got to change that.
Congressman Rick Berg, candidate for the United States Senate in North Dakota, on a couple of key issues on the Farm Bill. Keep fighting there, Rick. Appreciate the update as well as a couple of issues that have been front and center of the campaign. Thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Scott.
All right, talk to you soon. Thanks. Folks, we're out of time. My gosh, we packed the line, and we're going to do this all again tomorrow. And Ron Ness, President of North Dakota Petroleum Council, Kevin Kramer, candidate for Congress, Lynn Helms, head of the Department of Mineral Resources in North Dakota, among our guests tomorrow. For our listeners on AM 1100 The Flag, some maintenance issues coming up in the next hour. So you may have a slight interruption in the great Laura Ingram program. Just want to let our flagship listeners on AM 1100 The Flag know that. Make it as quick as possible, but there will be a little bit of maintenance required to bring us off the air for just a little bit of the upcoming hours. So stay tuned for that. God bless you, folks. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.